In this video, I'm going to be going over what you can do to win every match or round of Zonewars in Fortnite. This video is going to be split into two segments. First, I'll be talking about 1v1, 2v2, or even 3v3 and 4v4 Zonewars, and what you can be doing to win in matches like that. And then, in the second part of the video, I'll be going over how you can win rounds of free-for-all Zonewars like 32-mans and other similar maps. So, starting off with non-free-for-all Zonewars, the first thing you have to worry about is your start. There are two starts you should learn, one for Cuck and one for Height. So for the first start, it's actually going to be a height start. What you want to do is place an edited cone towards the direction that you're jumping. You're going to want to time your run so you run out exactly when the barrier drops. You're going to want to run, jump, place a floor and ramp in the direction of the person again. From there, you want to place one ramp out like this, jump up, place a floor and ramp, and then clicks 90 off this ramp. From here, if you're already over them, you can just ramp at them like this, but if you're not, from here I recommend that you do some 90s first, 2 jumping 90s, and then you can do a non-jumping 90, or you could just do tack sprinting non-jumping 90s straight up like this. Here's what it looks like in full speed. So next is the cut start. This time you want to place a cone and edit it to the opposite direction of the way you're jumping. All you want to do is jump, place 2 walls up and land on a floor, and then you want to drag this cone out onto that tile and place this wall here. Oftentimes you can catch someone on this ramp and then you have the edit on them to go for either a shot or you can just go for a box and shot. And here's what that looks like in full speed. So for the second cuck start, you want to place the cone and edit in the direction that you're jumping, and from here, again, you want to run out and land on a floor and ramp that's facing this way. And then from here, you want to place 2 ramps like this, floor and ramp, and then clicks 90 off this, and go. From here, you can sometimes cuck height or even cuck second crank if they're back there. Here's what that looked like in full speed. Learning starts like these are essential for securing the high ground at the beginning of the match. High ground is super important for these because it gives you the opportunity to play however you want. Obviously, I'm not condoning sitting up and spraying down at the people below you because low-key, that's pretty cringe. But if you are on height, it gives you the flexibility to do whatever playstyle suits you best. Not only that though, height is just an advantageous position to be in regardless of how you play. Not only is it easier to get damage from height, but it's also easier to conserve mats since you don't have to block your tops. After your start though, it's really pretty close to just a fight as you'll find in creative. If you get better at fighting, then you'll be better at Zonewars, and vice versa. There are a couple of Zonewars specific tips I can give you that will make you better instantly. First off, start conserving mats. While fights don't always last till someone runs out of mats, when they do, being the one with mats makes you much more likely to win. When I say conserve mats, I don't mean only build one piece at a time or anything like that. Mat conservation simply means just trying to be more efficient and conscious of what you're doing. Just try to avoid anything unnecessary that could lead to you wasting mats. Another thing to be super conscious of is your opponent's mats. If they don't switch their materials, it's extremely easy to predict how many mats they've used just based on the fact that they've gone through their wood, their brick, and eventually when they've used close to 50 metal builds. On the opposite side of this, make sure you're manually switching your materials when you can to throw off their count to make them think you have less mats than you do. Another big part of team versus team Zonewars or 1v1 Zonewars are chops. Chopping someone out means staying down and breaking out the build, and then trying to take a good angle while they're falling. If you're going to go for a chop, make sure that first off you have all your tops covered. If you place cones everywhere, you can block all their angles while not connecting them at all. Once you chop them out, you also want to make sure you're taking a good peek when they're falling and not just straight 50-50ing them, because they will have an easier headshot since they're above you. If you are the person being chopped, first off, learn the easiest ways to connect yourself. Generally, if you can go back and storm to connect or place a ramp floor like this, those are the easiest ways. If you are going to get chopped, no matter what though, try to pressure the person chopping you or go for a shot. If you drop and go for a shot, oftentimes they'll be so preoccupied trying to chop that you can get easy damage on them, or if you start spraying them, sometimes you can get easy bleed damage on them or get peace on them since they'll be distracted trying to chop. Another play you can make is dropping. In team modes, you can drop while your teammate stalls out, and if your teammate stalls long enough, it'll be easy to just chop the other 1 or 2 down once they start dropping. In 1v1s, if you drop quickly and unexpectedly, you can catch them off guard and then start spraying them when they try to follow you down. If you do make it down to grass and are playing low ground, try to stay front so you can put as much distance as possible between you and them and get more time to shoot at them and better angles for trying to chop their builds as they drop. The last advanced technique I have for Zonewars is for the specific situation when you're in a final 1v1 high in the sky, you have mats and your opponent doesn't, and you want to secure the round. If you know that they've taken a take, or if you have your own fish, you can just box up and hold the walls. Since they don't have any mats to go to zone, they'll die to storm before you, which means there's literally no chance for them to win that round. Now, moving on to free-for-all zone wars. What I mean by free-for-all zone wars is the type of zone wars where you and your team are pitted against a bunch of other solos or teams, where the zone keeps rotating and the last person alive wins the round, like an endgame in Battle Royale. Like an endgame, the first priority should be to stay frontside. Staying backside in zone wars is a surefire way to get jumped on by the more scuffed players for a refresh. If you can stay front, it gives you the opportunity to look back for kills without getting scuffed yourself. It also makes sure that you don't get looked back on from the people who are front. The next thing to keep in mind is the positioning of the zone. Just being frontside is good, but toward the beginning of the zone war, when the zone is still wide, you want to pick a side, that way Storm can be to one of your sides. When you're directly in the middle, not only is it really congested because there are tons of people near you, it also means you can get shot at from every side. The upside to being on one side of zone means first off, while you're moving and tarping, you can save mats by not blocking off the side of Storm, and then when you are boxed up, people can only pressure you from one side since nobody's going to be out in zone. Another good quality of being on the side of zone is dead side access. Dead side is the side of the moving zone that has less players due to it being further from the circle. You can take advantage of the dead side by wrapping to it so you have less congestion and less people on you, therefore a more free rotate. The next thing to pay attention to is layering. Layering means how high or low you are in the zone. Generally, the lower the layer, the more congestion. The higher, the freer. In the beginning of the game, you want to be on a higher layer since you have the mats to do it, and you don't ever want to die when you have mats. Make sure you aren't second height though. Whoever is the team closest to height generally gets sprayed at the most, so do your best to not be second height. If you need a refresh, it's better to stay a little lower and look for a kill. Nearing the end of the rounds though, you're going to want to make a play for either height or low ground. Low ground is harder to play, but what you want to do is just drop frontside and be the first person to claim the builds there. Once you've claimed the builds, then you want to maintain staying ahead by placing all the builds so you don't get cut off. From this position, you can often find tons of kills on kids with no mats drop on a low ground with low HP. It is a risky position though, since those kids will want to jump in and get a refresh on you. As for height, once you've taken it, it's really easy to play. I think that the best way to take height is either to get frontside and spray back at them if they aren't staying ahead, or to sneak up behind them if they are. If there are snipers, you can go for a snipe on height. Once you're up there, make sure to continuously shoot your gun to make sure everyone stays down and nobody flanks you. Finally, the last thing I have are some fighting tips for these zone wars. Make sure that you're always calculating the risks there are before you take a fight. For example, if you're max mats and jump in a box, it's not worth the risk at all, because let's say there's a 50% chance you die, and if you kill him, you don't really stand to gain anything, since you already have cap mats. However, if you have no mats and jump in a box, sure, you still might die. But if you do kill him, then you'll have the mats to continue to play out the endgame. Meanwhile, if you have decent mats, going for a wall take to get a kill could be worth it because it doesn't put you at much risk and you stand to gain a decent bit. Like and subscribe if you made it to the end. No long outros, bye. Why are you still here? No, I'm just kidding. If anyone's listening, I just want to give a little update. I know I haven't uploaded in a couple of days, and it's just because I've been super busy. I will get back to uploading as frequently as possible starting now. So hopefully you guys will see some videos in the very near future. Thank you guys for tuning in as always.